Hello everyone. So today we will be discussing about the topic which is called micro-monopoly and how to build a micro-monopoly. I assume, first of all, can you hear me? Can you hear me well? Is that all good with my audio and everything? Just asking you here. You hear me? You can hear me. Excellent. Thanks for confirming, Kamika. So, the topic today is micro-monopoly, and I assume that most of you, is the first time that you hear that term, because it's not a term well known in the market. So, and that's why today we will be discussing about the definitions, we will be discussing about why we need that, and also we will be discussing how to implement a micro-monopoly. So, but that said, maybe you know me already. If not, my name is Theo Mullers, and I'm the Chief Strategy Officer and investor in growthhackers.com. And besides that, I'm the CEO and co-founder of GrowthRocks. So we are building and we are implementing micro-monopolies for years now. And you know something, we were implementing micro-monopolies because we thought that we were trying always to cover one single issue. And that issue was always the issue of mapping the intent of the users. Because sometimes, you know, people, they search for something. Let's take our example, right? They search for growth hacking. Sometimes they search because they want to learn. Sometimes they search because they want to submit their tools. Sometimes they search because they search for an agency, right? So, and depending on how they search, then they have different intent. For example, if they search about growth hacking tools or growth hacking alone or growth hacking agency, these are three different intents. So it was an SEO game all these years, and we were trying to understand how can we do something to map all the intents together. And you know something, it was not possible to do that by just having one single website, because normally by Google is you need to rank for one or two intents altogether. But just imagine that we don't have just the intents of one keyword, we may have multiple keywords, right? And that's exactly where the problem starts. So that's why we invented the term micro-monopoly. And we wanted to solve that particular problem. Okay, it has a lot of other theory behind that we will be discussing, but I'm just explaining why we started with a micro-monopoly concept. Okay, so today we will go through the definitions, we will go through the theory, because it's very important to understand the scientific background and foundation of micro-monopoly. Then what are some facts that are pushing us towards that? And you know, the most important fact, even those things that they've been presented yesterday by Google, it's a great proof that the micro-monopoly is what we need. Because from that point on, we are able, with the micro-monopoly concept, we will be able to actually be in most of the ChatGPT or AI assistance results. Okay, and then we will discuss how to implement that, not from the technical perspective, because that is a typical growth hacking approach, but we will be discussing how it should be implemented from the business perspective. Okay, now, again, micro-monopoly is nothing more than building a set of properties in order to serve a particular audience. That's the idea. And it could be a different audience. It could be the same audience with a different intent. Same thing, right? So, for example, in Growth Hackers, we have Growth Hack University, because we want to cover the intent of those looking for a training. And then we have Growth Hacking, which it became growthhackers.com, which became the community, because we wanted to cover that aspect. And then we have Growth Rocks, that is the agency for those that they want to buy. And believe me, there are 27 more properties that they all together, they cover all kind of the intents and the audiences that we have. So, and I know what you will ask me, if it is, how is it possible that we maintain 27 different properties? Well, we do have something for that as well, how to do that and how you create something which is separated in one hand, because you need to cover all intents and audiences, but consolidated and consistent on the other hand. So bear with me, and in this 1 hour, we will be discussing all details about that. I have prepared a full set of documentation to walk us through. Another thing, so that you know, is that I will be sending with you these presentation to those that are actually participating today, and those that they didn't make it, but they will watch the recording. I will be sending the presentation, and if you want to organize calls with me to discuss more on Micromonopoly, feel free. You know where to find me. I'm on the community of growth hackers. Get me there, and then we can organize whatever you like. Now, what is quite important is that we are in search AI optimization era. People, they call that quite often, they call that GEO, generative engine optimization. That is one terminology. I prefer SEO, SAIO era, just because we're talking about AI optimization. So it's the same thing. So in order for us to be optimized, we need to do two things. One is that we need to make sure that our products or services or website in general is actually addressing the intent of the users in all possible manners. For example, what's happening is that you do two things, and it's very simple how to do though. The first one is that you get all the keywords that you believe that you want to rank for. So you get the list of your keywords, the same way that you would do it in your SEO dashboards or for SEO purposes. The second one is that you get the list of your personas. And then let's assume that for me, the personas in Growth Hackers is, for example, people that they just got into marketing, or startup founders, or CMOs in big organizations. So these are the personas. And then I have a different kind of a set of keywords. And then what I do is that I get those two, and I go into ChatGPT or any AI tool that you like. And what I do is that I ask ChatGPT to give me all the prompts that those personas would ask for those keywords. So I'm uploading those lists, and then I'm asking ChatGPT to give me all the prompts that those personas will search for these keywords. And then ChatGPT will give me the full list of long tails keywords or prompts that somebody would use to get on me. Okay? And then I analyze those keywords and then those prompts, and then I say, okay, some of them I can actually put them on my website. Some of them I cannot put them on the website. So I need to another website to put. Okay, and that's how I start dividing and thinking of micro monopolies, right? It's like admitting that one site alone will not do the trick. That's the whole idea of the micro monopoly. Okay, now for the record, what you will be needed besides the besides the prompts and besides the micromonopoly is that you need to build something which is it called llms.txt, and these are extensions like sitemap XML, like robots.txt, right? Similar thing where you let a tool, could be a plugin on WordPress, could be different ways of implementing that, to get a copy that you want from the website and put it in that file, because that file is very much optimized for AI agents. Don't forget that not all AI assistants out there, they do have the ability of crawl your website. So some of them, they will rely in information that you will be giving them. Okay, and that's why we need to make sure that you cover both of them. So the first one that you need to do is finding the prompts. The next one is making sure that you have LLMs.txt established on your website, and you have optimized snippets as well. These are very important because you know that talking about snippets is nothing more than a typical SEO approach. And we have snippets for everything, right? Snippets for FAQs, for how-tos, for videos, for directories, for listings. So many snippets available out there based on schema.org, typical SEO approach. But we know that all AI tools, they do like data that are pre-populated and ready. And that's why they all are optimized for snippets. So you need to make sure that you have all the snippets in place and you have all the LMS. But you will get into the same conclusion with me, that you cannot cover all the prompts that you will be seeing on a single website, especially when you have different intents or different audiences. Because the truth is that the founder, in Growth Hacker's case, the founder and the CMO of an established company, they don't look for the same thing, they don't ask for the same thing, and they don't, most probably they don't have the same needs at all. So that's why we need to serve them both without necessarily doing that from the same website. And again, that is where micro-monopoly comes. Okay, now, why do you need one? For the reasons we just said: increase visibility, differentiation from competition, because competition is always having the same one website, then better Google AI rankings, more revenue streams. That is also very important because every part of the micro-monopoly comes with their own revenue streams. Less business risks because you don't put all your eggs in one basket, and obviously because you have more channels to utilize rather than just one for different paid promotions or different kind of promotions. So the next question is always if that is something for you all or for some of you, or if it makes sense for everybody. So if you have an e-commerce site, if you have a services business, a high ticket services, a low ticket services, or whatever, is it for you? And the answer is yes, it is. The short answer is yes, it is. Because actually, even e-commerce sites, and you will see that most fashion related e-commerces, for example, they don't just invest in putting information on the products, but they do have tips, they do have fashion trends, they do have different things. So sometimes keeping these things within the same e-commerce site is very hard for many reasons. One among them, the technicality around that. Let's assume that you use Shopify for your e-commerce site. You know, Shopify is not good with a lot of content. And if we're talking about trends and quizzes and different things for fashion-related things, then Shopify will not be the platform for you. Well, Shopify, on the other hand, is excellent for getting your products out there and hosting your e-commerce activities. You know, so that's why you may need to create something else, that it will be hosted as a subdomain or as a separate domain and then that will do the trick. Okay, so the answer is yes, it is for you. And I do believe that knowing how to build micro monopolies is it could be your unfair advantage. I feel that by knowing that, you will be able to position yourself in a way that your competition cannot. Not because they don't see the need of having something like that, but because they cannot control it. So you can be way faster, you can be way better in doing that simple thing. Now, what is quite important is that we need to understand that finding and building a micro monopoly is not about finding the one idea that will make the difference. Is because you need to understand that you need to have you need to address the client in a way that they feel that you have something for them. You know, it's quite similar when we have landing pages for our paid ads, right? Let's assume that we are targeting 3 different personas. What's the typical thing to do? The typical thing to do on our website is to create 3 different landing pages, 1 per persona. Why we do that? We do that for one main reason, because we don't want, for example, the startup founders with CMOs of the companies, let's assume these are 2 different personas, to get on the same landing page, because we don't believe that the messaging will resonate with both of them. It will not, because each one will come for their own reasons, right? So that's why we create 2 different landing pages. And you know what we do to maximize our results? We just even remove the menu so that we don't let them moving in different pages, because a landing page for someone coming from ads is a landing page that needs to have no disruptions or distractions, right? So that's why we always create something that will keep them focused, and that's exactly the same thing with Micromonopoly. The difference is that we don't lead people from paid ads into a Micromonopoly, is that we bring people inbound. Okay, so for paid ads, the solution is landing pages. For organic and inbound, the solution is Micromonopoly. These parallelism alone and these example will explain why we have that. Now, another thing for micromonopolies is that micromonopolies are ideal for introverts. Now, why that? And I'm taking that as an example for myself. Because if you are an extrovert, then you can go to different exhibitions, to speak with people in their own booths and open up some sales opportunities. A lot of people, they cannot do that. I'm one of those guys that I cannot do that. So either I will go in an exhibition and I will have my own booth, and I will be waiting people to come and visit me, and that is exactly where the connection will happen. Or I will visit a stage, I will be speaking, and then people, they will come and they will open up a discussion with me, or there is nothing else that will happen. That clear. So that's why for me, Micromonopoly is also very important, because it actually maximizes everything about inbound marketing and an organic way of seeing value. Okay, now few things that have been changed that is pushing us more and more. We are very happy that we came up with the Micromonopoly concept something like 10 years ago, because now with AI, although we see a lot of clients that they do see a big decline in their numbers, we are very happy that we see an increase because of the existence of the micro-monopoly, because there are a lot of websites that are actually ranking more than the main site that we have. Let's get the example of HubSpot, for example. They lost something like 90% of their traffic. Now, the issue with that was just that they had all their eggs in the same basket, right? So they had just one website. So if that one website, because of AI, because of Google's algorithms, because of many reasons, is is having reasons not to rank well, then you lose most of the business together with that website. And that is exactly something that you need to mitigate as the risk if you are a founder or a business owner. Okay, and you know that's a diagram that I keep seeing and I keep discussing about that quite often, and it has to do with how people are moving towards the traditional growth hacking to less commoditized things, right? From digital marketing up to no-code marketing. Now with AI, we're able to do so. So now more than ever, it's easier for us to have specialized website that we develop with PLG or no-code marketing, because now it's very easy, and for marketeers is quite easy because we don't need any developers to do that for us. It was not the case when we started 10 years ago, and that's why we need to find it. We needed to find solutions that they were not that technical, right? So that's why we went all the way with WordPress and maximizing what WordPress can do, because we didn't have the luxury back then to create code, because it was taking a lot of time and it was costing a lot of money, which is something that is not happening today. Now, and why that? Because we realized something quite clear, that software has eaten the world, and obviously marketing too. And that's why, by leveraging technical platforms, we're able to gain what is ours and what it could belong to us marketeers. Okay, and then, you know, we keep saying that quite often, the difference between digital marketeers and growth marketeers, or marketects as they call us, is nothing more than just familiarity with technology and data skills. Because at the end of the day, having different platforms working together, it makes a lot of sense if you collect the numbers and you accumulate all the numbers together, because your ecosystem and your micro-monopoly needs to be not only analyzed based on the property, but also all the properties together. And by accumulating, it's like creating a group financial statement if you have multiple subsidiaries. Same thing, right? Rather than having multiple subsidiaries, you have multiple websites. So you accumulate all their numbers and you deliver the one that is the group number. That's the whole idea. Okay, now, most companies and most founders, the problem that they have, because they do realize the problem, right? And how they try to solve that is by getting into the competition trap. And the competition trap is seeing a lot what the competition is doing and try to mimic them. Okay, that is what we call the competition trap. Another thing is trying to do the pricing trap. And the pricing trap is nothing more than just having lower prices from the competition. And I know so many founders out there that they are telling me that our service is similar to service ABC, but we have lower prices. And what I'm always advising them is, don't compete on prices. That is not something sustainable, and that is not something that it will create an appealing business for investors as well. If investors, they will see that you have the same solutions, same solution like someone else, but you just have lower prices, so you compete on price, that's something they will not enjoy that much. Okay, and the third one is what we call the feature trap. The feature trap is trying to add more and more features in their products. But you know something, the more features will just bring will just satisfy the existing clients. More features will not bring new clients. And what you need to do is that you need to bring more clients. Okay, and feature set is good, but only for the existing ones. Okay, and the second, the last one, typical trap that founders are doing is that they try to do the growth hacking for the sake of the hacking trap. So they keep experimenting again and again, trying different things, because they believe that they need to find that one thing that will make the difference again and again, without a thoughtful process of building their experiments. Okay, so avoiding these traps is something that you can do through the micromonopoly. Now, the theory behind that, I will pass that quite fast on the theory. So there are 5 different theories that we put all together, and these theories are giving us the foundation of micromonopoly. Now, the first one is something that we call surround sound SEO. Now, surround sound SEO is exactly what I told you before, that we cover different intents and we have different top ranking pages for different keywords, and then we make sure that all the keywords will find their way. That is the surround sound SEO. Okay, so making sure that we cover different aspects of our personas and of our keywords. Now, because at the end of the day, what we care is that we need to be everywhere in searches. We need to monitor different competitors in real time, and we need to make sure that we have the maximum visibility in search engine result pages. Okay, and that's exactly what surround sound SEO is doing. It's a typical SEO approach. Normally, because they don't speak about the micromonopoly theory, they try to build everything within the same website. That is making a bit difficult doing so, but at the end of the day, is a theory that inspired us to come up with a micromonopoly approach. Okay, the next one is what we call engineering as marketing. If you don't know, that channel is a channel where we get a marketing idea and we build different tools or resources to reach more people, like resources that they analyze the website, or quizzes, or crosswords, or word search puzzles, and this kind of stuff. So different things, engineering though, that they will address specific audience by giving something that is an end-to-end user experience. As I said, different kind of widgets, calculators, educational microsites, whatever, everything that is engineered. Okay, so, and that is the engineering as marketing kind of initiative. And in 2 weeks' time, we have a specialized webinar about engineering as marketing. So we will be discussing what engineering as marketing is, how you get that initiative, how you promote the calculators and the widgets and everything that you are building, and you will see a lot of nice ideas moving from a content-based website into engineering as marketing, and how you can incorporate engineering as marketing as part of your growth strategy. Okay, and normally what's happening is that we need to remember that engineering as marketing is a very utilized channel, because growth hackers and growth marketeers in general, up to now, they were not good in developing stuff. And that's why it stayed to be an underutilized channel. I believe that you need to invest in engineering as marketing, and you will see great set of benefits coming from that. Okay, and obviously you can use that for creating quick prototypes, marketing experiments, feedback collection, new digital assets, microsites, games, engineering solutions, whatever. You will see how we get from the ideation phase down to implementing what we need to implement. Okay, now the next one is a theory which is called the blue and the red ocean. It's a theory that normally we learn about that in our business schools, and it was about, you know, the red ocean. We call it the red ocean, and it's red because of the blood of competitors trying to find the same solution in the same area. So when you see that people, they try to, there is a lot of competition in doing so. So the only thing that you need to do is that to turn that competition irrelevant. So you need to go a different direction. So you need to find something that is not as crowded as what you have today. Okay, and that is the theory of blue and red ocean. So with Micromonopoly is inspired by that, because what we do with Micromonopoly is that we actually stop caring about what the competition is doing, because what we do is very different from competition. Is more than competition. It covers a wider spectrum than competition, so we don't care. They could be doing something good, a small part, that's fine, but we have a bigger part. And that is what it is turning us fishing in the blue ocean. Okay, and obviously that means that we have less competition in there, we have different baskets and our eggs in different baskets, so which is even better for us, and all these things. And if you want just to see the theory, it's nothing more than just red ocean is competing in an existing marketplace, which is very crowded, while blue ocean is creating an uncontested market space and where competition is actually irrelevant. You know, and what is better actually than turning your competition irrelevant, not interested of what the competition is doing, because you know that they cannot do what you do. That's the beauty of that, right? So that's why we managing in Growth Hackers to rank that high for and have such a big community for the last 15 years, because that's exactly the strategy that we were having. Now, and the next one is something that we call no marketing, another theory that has been inspired us to come up with a micro-monopoly approach. Now, which is nothing more than believing that every single experiment is happening because we need to find a positive or a negative signals. So sometimes we believe in growth hacking that running an experiment is because we want that experiment to succeed, which is not the case. A lot of times we just do an experiment, we know that it will fail, but we need signals that are negative because we need to understand from these negative signals what's happening. Sometimes we just need to confirm that something is not working. We have assumptions that maybe something is not working, but without running an experiment, we cannot take it off. So we need to take it off, right? And sometimes that's why we run experiments. And that is something that is called no marketing, because actually here you don't try to market or sell something, you just try to collect signals from the market. And these signals will tell you where you need to go next. Okay, so and that's all. We have something which is called billion opinions don't matter. So I don't care about implementing a billion opinion. I like about examining everything like a researcher. Because the point is, I don't know what I don't know. So in order for me to get into some conclusions, I need to experiment. And that's why we have all the no marketing approach. Okay, I will skip the theory. And then there is something in our market which is called karma-based marketing. That's pretty simple. It says that if you want to give value, give value. Don't wait. Give value and then something back will come back. Okay, because people, what they try is that they always try to get too early rather than giving first. What karma marketing is say, don't do that. Try to deliver something of value and you will see that something you will get back something out of that. Now, what I realized is that, and that Google years later, karma-based marketing, Google came saying something which is called EAT, expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. It says that if you give something, then at the end of the day, what you will be increasing is your EAT. And if you increase your expertise, trustworthiness, and authority, then most probably your rankings will go up. That alone is a karma-based marketing, right? You do something, then your expertise and authority goes up. If that goes up, then rankings will follow, which means leads and users. Okay, so, and that was everything about the theory. So I hope that you're not bored, because, having the foundation of everything we're discussing and the scientific background of everything, every single concept, it's important. Okay, now let's see how we implement that. Now we started from the why, the what it is, and now let's discuss about the how thing. Okay, now the first thing that you need to do is we explain why you need to do so, to do though, and what you need to here to be very clear is that it's not about doing things different from competition. It normally micro-monopoly is started because you do have something to share, you do have a value, and you want to share that value because it's not given, right? Sometimes you do have something to say, but you don't want to. You want to keep it for yourself, right? Or you don't have the technical ways of doing so. So that said, it's quite important that forget all the reasons why we do that, rankings, link building, valuation, all the typical non-romantic things. These shouldn't be the reason. If the reason is that you have something of value that you want to share with others, then Micromonopoly is your approach. Okay, now we have 6 steps to make sure that you will implement an amazing micro-monopoly. Let's see step by step how you need to start thinking. Okay, now, first of all, again, we're talking about creating website, quizzes, marketplaces, e-shops, blogs, apps, social media profiles, different things. These are some of the things that you can implement. But in reality, what you need to do is that you need to create value. Okay, and creating value in technical terms, and that's why we will get into the first step, which is actually finding your superpower, is that you need to create something which is uniform, which is you need to control the property. It's very hard when you want to build something and you order somebody else. Okay, then you need to tag and segment everyone that's coming on the website. You need to start collecting data, you need to measure the results, and then you need to have different monetization strategy. Now, if you wonder how you do that in technical terms, initially I would say it's pretty simple. You get a WordPress, you get a marketing automation platform, could be Zapier, Make, or N8N, for example. Then you take a marketing automation platform, HubSpot, Go High Level, or ActiveCampaign, and then you put a Google Tag Manager, Google Data Studio, and a Google Search Console together with Bing, Webmaster Tools. It's very important now for AI reasons, and that is your max stack at first. That's all you need. You just need to systemize everything, and you just need to make sure that you use these 6 categories across all your properties. And next time that when we will do engineering as marketing, we will be discussing about Cursor and Lovable as well, 2 platforms that you need to be using as a marketeer to create even more engineering heavy things. Okay, but in technical terms, what you see in front of you, that is all you need. Now, if you have any question, or if you have any of them that you are not aware of, just start upskilling yourself. So, for example, if you don't know Zapier or Make or N8N, learn one of them. That's fine. All of them are the same. Basically, the concept is very important. So dig in one, create an account, start learning it. Okay. Same with Go High Level, ActiveCampaign, or HubSpot. I know HubSpot is you need to have an account. For all of them, you need to have an account. But find a way for you to start digging into those tools because these tools will unlock a lot of things about collecting data, measuring the results, tagging the users, automating nurturing, collecting information. It's amazing. Okay, so that you understand, in the aspect of what I just say here, last week we introduced something. We got an idea from Medium, and Medium is having a feature which is called clapping. Now, clapping is like liking, but normally when you like something, you like it once. If you are on Medium, you can start clapping, and you may clap as many times as you like, up to 25 claps per article, for example. Okay, and if that's happening, then you keep clapping, and then that means that you enjoy the content that we share with you. Okay, and we implement that ourselves, a clapping feature. We got the idea from Medium, we implemented ourselves, we put it on a website. And if that would be all, that would be halfway there. Because when people they clap. The point is, you don't know that, right? Unless you will start visiting the articles. So what we did is that now people they clap, and what is happening is we get messages on our Slack channel. So every time you clap, we see it on Slack. And that is, you cannot imagine how inspired that thing is. Understanding in real life that someone is enjoying your content. That is small detail around Micromonopoly that it made a huge difference. Okay, now why that is important? Because you may have, if you use these 6 platforms all together in a consistent manner, you have faster launches, you have a better tool, you can create something quite cheap, and you are able to test everything. You have go-to-market, which is very fast, coming from an idea down to a property. You put it out, you test it, boom. It's very simple to test. And then the most important is that you have the ownership and agility over those assets. Okay, and that's very important, because most of the founders out there, or CMOs, or even marketeers, they do not control their assets. It's somebody else who's controlling their assets. Now, let's start from steps 1 to 6. Okay, so the first thing to start from is something you do already, something you learn along the way, something that is indirectly connected to what you do, something that's a bit different. The first thing is to find your superpower, right? So let's assume you're good in social media. You're good in analyzing breaking news. You're good in SEO. You're good in creating videos. You're good in something, right? And that's a great starting point for you to start working on building a micro-monopoly. For example, you like teaching. Excellent. Do teaching. Get in front of a camera, start creating small videos of the topics that you like, and create a directory of you teaching others, right? Or you like creating websites. Excellent. Create 1 website per week. Or you like fashion items. Excellent. Those things that you believe that they actually attracted your attention, put them on a website, saying these are my selections, and that is why these are my selections, right? Or you are early adopter in everything new. If that's the case, and you are subscribed from Product Hunt down to different applications presenting new tools, then that's great. Put them down, create a directory of those tools, your own directory, and then ask people to comment upon. You see, everything that is your passion, it could be turned into your side project, your passion project. Just imagine that you may have multiple of them, right? Because some of you like teaching, and then you can create websites, and then you monitor up technologies, and then you are early adopters, and then you're analyzing breaking news. Just imagine all of them. If you go into the previous slides, understanding the methodology and how we do that, you can come up with a lot of things like that. Okay, now, and it's very important that you focus in something you do already. not something that you will be forced to follow, because that will never happen. Okay, that unfortunately will never happen. Don't force yourself in doing something that you believe that people will ask for. Start with something that you do already and you do have some content. And then you may start creating this kind of content, for example. Okay, different things. I will not get one by one, but you will see that those things, if you have something, then it's very easy for you to come up with that. Okay, because at the end of the day, it's all about content repurposing. It's about reutilizing the content you already have. And the first thing that you need to do is finding a way to organize your content. For example, I'm using Keep. I know that if I want to keep track of something, then I put it on Keep. And I know that on Keep, I have everything. Now, a lot of times what I do when I see something, I take a picture and it gets on my pictures. And when I like something, I get a screenshot. A screenshot on my desktop or a screenshot on my mobile, they will all be delivered on the same channel. So at the end of the day, I have one place where all the things that actually I wanted to remember are in one place. And every 2 days, I'm visiting and revisiting these database, and I'm seeing what I can use there, what I can repurpose from what I have there. And then I create content on social media, I create slides for my presentations, so many things coming from that. Okay, the first thing that you need to do is making sure that you have a way of collecting insights and everything around you, things that are actually grab your attention in one single source. And from there, you start repurposing. And you know who is helping you in repurposing those, right? ChatGPT or AI, any AI. Your favorite video, you can create some slides. Your favorite picture, you can create some other slides. So there are so many things that you can do to explain and move from what you have and what you saw into something that it makes sense for your own properties. Now, and you will realize that it's all about secret ideas that things are hidden under your nose, and you don't realize that. And the moment I start thinking that everything I see in front of me and everything that exists around me is something that I could repurpose, I started seeing the world differently. Because now, for example, I see a nice ad somewhere in Subway, like in London. I'm taking a picture of that. And I know that some point, few days later, I will be able to think of what I could do with that picture. Okay, so everything that I wanted to do used to be under my nose. And the procedure actually helped me to do so. The next thing, number 2, so the first one is finding finding your superpower. The second one is to build your micro goals. So what do you want to do? Do you have enough clients, but you don't have enough revenue streams? Do you want to open up to a new audience? Do you want to do something recurring? Do you want to increase visibility? Right? Do you want to overrun competition? So what is the micro goal that you need to go after? That is the next thing that you need to start building. And the next one is that depending on what you need to do, then you have different approach of what to do in order to fit your micro goals. Let's assume, for example, that you have you want a low ticket service. Let's assume that you have a high ticket service. We do have a high ticket service, but we want it as GrowthX, but we want a low ticket service. So that's why what we did is that we created something which is 100% funnel automated, or we created self-service approach, or we created consulting by the hour. You see, and these were different properties, because people that they can't work with an agency, they're not the same people that they want to work with an agency by the hour and getting some consulting. You see, that's why we needed to build a different property. And then if you want to open up a new audience, then you have different things. If you want to have better rankings, Then you start building directories. For example, in Growth Hackers, we have Growth Junkie, we have Growth Bytes, we have Growth Bits, we have so many specialized sites, even growthmarketingagencies.com, where we list our competitors. Because if you control the narrative, you control the rankings. You see, that's the beauty of Micromonopoly. And these are just a few things of our Micromonopoly. Now, you don't always need to disclose the full list of your Micromonopoly, right? Because at the end of the day, it's yours. At the end of the day, you do things to cover your needs and to cover your clients. So you don't need to always have a list of all the websites. If you will ask me who in the company they do know all our 27 properties, most probably it's just me and my co-founder, nobody else. And those guys that they do work with automation because we have a unified system for all 24 of them. That's all. Clients or definitely not competitors or employees, they don't know that we have so many. They just don't know. They don't care. And we don't care explaining as well. So, number 3, you need to create a list of your daily deliverables. Because what we said before is that you need to start from something you are doing. And normally, something you are doing is coming with a lot of byproducts. So, for example, we deliver services, a ton of byproducts. Let's discuss about byproducts, okay? Because most of the people, they believe that they do something, but they don't have any byproducts, which is not the same. So let's see what are the byproducts for the products. Okay, so for example, if you run a fashion e-commerce site, the byproduct is your knowledge of fashion trends, knowledge about styling, photo shooting, product analysis, user behavior analysis, product selection criteria, newsletters of others, that you get things from other brands. That's things you do. When you run a fashion e-commerce site, these 7 are the 7 that you do. Well, all these 7, they're giving you extra, it's what we call byproducts. They're giving you things to do. For example, you know about styling. Okay, that's a byproduct, because at the end of the day, it's the fashion that you care about. Okay, the e-commerce site. Now, if you do have all the information you need about styling or fashion trends, what do you do with them? Option 1, nothing. Option 2, you keep that for yourself. Option 3, you add some content on your e-commerce site. Okay, there are more options of how you can leverage and maximize fashion trends or styling tips. Okay, and you could create something around that, something that it will be unrelated or let's say indirectly related to your fashion e-commerce site. Okay, then next one is, for example, you have an info product. Let's assume you have a video course or something. Then all the content that you read about your niche is content that you can actually do something with that. List of competitors and differentiators, why your video course is better than all the rest. That is something that you may actually put them on a list. Or analysis of the market or user analytics, how users are behaving while watching your video course. That could be a very nice infographic. That is, you could even create a specialized site where people, they will go and they will see aggregates. People, they love numbers. So give them numbers. And you do have numbers. As a video course, as an e-commerce site, you do have numbers. Put them out there. Okay. Now, another kind, for example, services businesses, right? So again, you read a ton of content. What is, and you can curate that. And then you have analysis of the market. Again, you have user analytics. You can use that. Or ourselves as a holistic growth agency, we have so many byproducts that we create, from the playbooks that we use with our clients, WordPress plugins that we develop, web apps that we do for clients, you know, all kind of how users are behaving on our website, and numbers coming from our mix panel or go high level, SEO reports on specific keywords. These things are things that are very interesting and important for others. And that could be our byproduct, right? And we can give that through a specialized property that people they will very much enjoy. Now, what is the next thing that we need to do here is that we need to connect the dots, right? That we need to do an external research, understanding how people they will be moving from one dot to the other. That's the next thing that we need to do, a keyword research. And then we need to connect the dots. So different things together. How we created a website. In that website, we have our names or our products or some things that we care about, right? It's by delivering value, you connect the dots and you do it in a way that it makes sense for you. So connecting the dots is not leaving something alone, but isolated. It's putting everything together. Your clients need to be everywhere. Your value needs to be everywhere. Your partners, find a way to build a network that will actually give the value to your partners. And then number 6 is try to monetize everything, right? From a simple sales list down to a media kit, down to guest blogging opportunities, down to digital products, whatever. Everything that you do, you need to monetize, right? Data, eyeballs, dollars, whatever, everything is monetizable, even if that means not necessarily monetary, right? Not always dollars. It could be something else. Because you have a specific property, then people they will be willing to work with you because of the focused clients or visitors that you have in there. Okay, so monetize everything. You leave nothing without a monetization strategy. Could be paywalls, could be email collection, could be even cookies, could be whatever. Okay, a lot of ways of monetizing everything. Think of that and it will very nice work. Okay, so simple thing here. You need to move from a traditional business into a technology-based, technology-led business. And then you need to start all these 3 steps and you need to understand how you can move into that level in the best possible manner. Okay, now what's happening is quite often that is normally out of the founder's comfort zone. We understand that. It makes sense, right? Because if you run an e-commerce site, you run an e-commerce site. You know about e-commerce. Here we're talking about leveraging your byproducts, right? So we do understand that it's a bit out of your comfort zone, which is okay. Remember that and try to work with that. Because at the end of the day, if you will become a technology-led business, you will get into the potential that you have. Otherwise, you will not, and you will stay behind. Okay, because even if we're talking about fashion e-commerce site as an example, you see that you are on a red ocean. How you move from red ocean of all the e-commerces out there into a blue ocean? That's what you need to think. How can I turn my competition irrelevant? Because at the end of the day, you do have competition. And again, the first trap is I will be cheaper. I will have more products. I will sell on Amazon or I will not sell on Amazon. There are different ways of traps, all of them, to get into that. The correct trap, the correct option that you have is not getting into any traps. It's about selecting your blue ocean and start building towards that. So, and that works even if that is for a student, an employee, a freelancer, a non-marketeer. Micro-monopoly is for everyone because you don't need to be a fashion icon or chief strategy officer in Growth Hackers to build a micro-monopoly. I built micro-monopoly when I was absolutely unknown because I felt that this is the way that I could do to go forward. Finding my passion, my superpower, finding my micro goals, creating a list of my daily deliverables, what I was coming with, then doing an extensive research of the keywords through Ahrefs. I started back then, and then by connecting the dots and delivering value, and by monetizing everything in a fully consistent manner. Okay, so my advice to you all is go and build something, and build a lot of things. Not just build something, build a lot of things. And by embracing technology, you are giving yourself a significant competitive advantage. If you have technology related questions of how you do that, in 2 weeks from now, we have engineering as marketing. Come and I will show you, I will walk you through all the technologies and how you can put them together to do what you need them to do. And that is where, again, growth hacking, the second life is coming. Growth Hackers version 2 is coming. We're now coming up with a new book. You see, these are clear definitions of our micromonopoly. A book, an ebook, a new concept, new courses, all these are part of the same micromonopoly. And for you all, you know that on the community already, we're giving you discount, 30% discount in all the things that we're doing. So everything that you need to get from a course down to our books, don't buy it unless we will send you a coupon code and you will be able to get everything 30% off. Okay, so thank you very much for your time. I hope that you understood why you need a micromonopoly and how to do the business prerequisites to get into building your own micromonopoly. Feel free to shoot me with questions. You can ask questions on the community of Growth Hackers, which is growthspace.growthhackers.com, or you can email me, you can send me messages on LinkedIn or in different channels. You will not lose me. You know where to find me. So feel free. If you have any questions, you can ask them now, and I will share with you that presentation. So go out and build something, build a lot of things. It makes sense. Thank you. Bye for now.